ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, my dear friends. I am starting videos on the spiritual teachings of Swami Brahmananda. Swami Brahmananda was a direct disciple of Bhagwan Ramakrishna Paramhansa. His earlier name was Rakhal. After initiation, his name was changed to Swami Brahmananda. He was the most important devotee of Ramakrishna Paramhansa. After Swami Vivekananda, Swami Brahmananda was the very important disciple of Ramakrishna Paramhansa. In these spiritual teachings, there is question and answer, a sort of conversation. Through these conversations, Swami Brahmananda imparted spiritual teachings to his disciples. Let us start the first video with the topic meditation and realization. This conversation took place at Banaras in the year 1921. Question by the pupil: Maharaj, I am practicing japam and meditation, but I have not yet acquired any taste for these. Somehow or other I am struggling on. What must I do? Swami: is it possible to have that taste in the beginning? No. Struggle hard to attain it. Concentrate all your energies on its achievement and never for a moment pay heed to other matters. Apply yourself wholeheartedly to it and to it alone. Onward, onward. Never be satisfied with your present state of mind. Try to create within yourself a burning dissatisfaction. Say to yourself, what progress am I making? Not a bit. Sri Ramakrishna used to say to the Divine Mother, Mother, another day is gone and I have not seen thee. Every night before you go to bed, think for a while how much time you have spent in doing good deeds, how much again in doing useless things, how much time you have utilized in meditation, and how much you have wasted in idleness. Make your mind strong through tapasya. austerity and brahmacharya, continence. In rich men's houses, they keep a darban, porter, whose duty is to prevent thieves, cows, sheep, etc., from entering the compound. The mind is man's darban. The stronger the mind becomes, the better. Mind has also been compared to a restive horse. Such a horse generally takes the rider along the wrong path. Only he who can hold a tight rein and check the horse can go the right way. Struggle, struggle on. What are you doing? Is everything achieved by the mere wearing of the Gerva cloth, ochre colored cloth of the sannyasi, or by renunciation of hearth and home? What have you realized? Time is flying. Do not waste a single moment. You will be able to work hard only another 3 or 4 years at the most. Afterwards, both body and mind will become weak and infirm, and you will not be able to do anything. What can be achieved without diligence? You are thinking, let us first of all have yearning, faith, and devotion. Then we shall do our sadhana, spiritual practices. Is that possible? Can we see the day without the break of dawn? When the Lord comes, love, devotion, and faith follow him as his retinue. Can anything be achieved without tapasya? Brahma at first heard tapas, meditate, tapas, meditate, tapas, meditate. Do you not see what a severe tapasya even the avatars, incarnations of God, had to perform? Has anybody gained anything without labor? Buddha, Sankara, and others, what tremendous austerities they practiced in their lives, what burning renunciation they possessed, what severe sadhana they performed. Real faith cannot be had in the beginning. First realization, then faith. But at first the sadhaka, aspirant, has to pin his faith, blind faith it may be, to the precepts of his guru, spiritual teacher, or of some great soul. Then only can he advance towards the goal. Do you not know the parable of the austere as told by Sri Ramakrishna? The austere floats about on the surface of the sea with its cell wide open just for a little drop of the Swati rain. Rain falling when the star Swati or Arcturus is in the ascendant. As soon as it gets a raindrop, it dives down to the ocean bed and there forms a fine pearl. Like the austere, you too should be put up and doing and then dive deep in into the ocean of meditation. You have no self reliance. Personal exertion is an indispensable factor for success in the spiritual life. Do something for a period of at least 4 years. Then If you do not make any tangible progress, come and take me to task. Japam and meditation are impossible unless you transcend the limitations of rajas, excessive activity, and tamas, inertia or lethargy. Afterwards, you have to rise even above sattva, illumination, and attain the high spiritual plane from where there is no return. How difficult is the attainment of a human birth, yet it is only in this human birth that God realization is possible. Strive hard in this life and reach that state from which you will not have to come back. The mind is to be raised step by step from the gross state to the subtle, then to the causal state, still further to the great cause, Mahakarna, and finally to Samadhi, highest illumination. Resign yourself fully to the Lord. He is everything. There is nothing besides. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Verily, all this is Brahma. Everything is His and His only. Never be calculating. Is self-surrender possible in a day? When that is achieved, everything is achieved. One must struggle hard for it. Life is eternal. The span of man's life is at most 100 years. Give up the pleasures of these 100 years if you want to enjoy eternal life and with it eternal bliss. Part 2. Spiritual Practices. Conversation at Banaras. The Swami. Are your religious practices going well? Sadhu. No, Maharaj. With all my efforts, I see no spiritual unfoldment. Hence, I find no peace of mind. Evidently, we are born with evil sanskaras, impressions, and these stand in the way of our spiritual progress. The Swami, my boy, you should not think thus. Practice japam at dead of night. If you cannot do it at that time, do it during the early hours of the morning. Perform Purascharna. Do not waste your valuable time anymore. Lose yourself in prayer and meditation. Usually it implies regular japam or the repetition of the name of the deity a prescribed number of times followed by homa and other ceremonies. Additional japam is also permissible in place of these ceremonies. All inner truths will come by themselves if you practice sadhana for some time. The spiritual aspirant should not take much food at night. At first, take 3/4 of your usual diet. Then reduce the quantity to half. In the beginning, you may feel some weakness of the body, but the body will be all right after some time and will remain active and in perfect condition. The Swami then referred to the days when he practiced sadhana in the company of his brother disciples and said, "We used to take only a single meal during the whole day and night." The Swami, a sadhaka should first learn about the spiritual path from some great soul, then follow it methodically. If he does it haphazard, he cannot achieve much success. Again, if he gives it up, he will have to put forth double the usual effort to gain the desired result. But no endeavor is lost. Lust, anger, greed gradually go away from him who leads the spiritual life. Your mind is now covered over by rajas activity and tamas inertia. It must be made pure and subtle and raised to the state of sattva, illumination. Then you will find pleasure in religious practices and will also feel inclined to devote more and more time to them. Later on, when the mind attains perfect purity, you will naturally devote yourself to spiritual culture. The mind is at present on the gross plane. Consequently, it leans towards gross things. But when it becomes awakened, it inclines naturally towards the spiritual. When it grows subtler, its capacity also increases and the aspirant is able to understand within a short time the truths about God. When you sit in meditation, first think of a blissful divine form. This will have a soothing effect on your nerves and mind. Otherwise, meditation will become dry and tedious. Think of the form of your Eastern ideal as smiling and full of bliss. While away your time no longer. Now the senses are strong and must be kept under control. This is no doubt a troublesome task, but practice sadhana continuously for 7 or 8 years. Then you will enjoy the fruits of your practices, the peace and bliss thereof. Many women devotees have attained spiritual illumination. Should you not also strive for it? But women have greater faith than men. That is why they succeed in a comparatively short time. Believe me, the Lord is always with you. If you practice a little, He will extend His helping hand to you. It is He who is protecting us all from miseries and troubles. How unbounded is His grace! How can I describe it to you? You have been only hearing of all these spiritual things. Now realize them. You have done enough study and reasoning. Now do some spiritual practice. First take up that aspect of God which appeals to you most. Follow your own path of sadhana. When you realize God through it, you will feel the joy of realizing Him also in other aspects and through other paths. One should meditate on the form of the Ishtam along with Japam. Otherwise, Japam does not become effective. If you cannot think of the whole form, think only of a part. Begin your meditation on the lotus feet of the deity. Continue to do it even if you fail in the beginning. Why should you stop until you succeed? Succeed you must. Practice will make everything easy. Is meditation an easy affair? Remember, it is next only to samadhi. Try to leave everything to the Lord. Resign yourself wholly unto Him. Then through your sadhana, self-surrender and everything will come from within. Third part, worship and meditation. Conversation at Banaras. K. Maharaj, you spoke to us of the practice of puja, worship, meditation, continence, and study of the scriptures. What does puja mean? The Swami, puja means both external and mental worship. In external worship, certain accessories such as flowers, incense, and water are necessary. It is difficult to get these things always, so mental worship is more convenient for you. After worshipping the Eastern chosen ideal mentally with padya, water for washing the feet, flowers and incense, which are offered in external worship. Practice meditation and mental japam. In purely mental japam, the mantram, name of the deity, is to be repeated without moving the lips. But in ordinary japa, one has to utter the mantram and there is therefore movement of the lips. In meditation, you should think of the form of your Ishtam as effulgent. Imagine that everything is shining through its luster. Think of this effulgence as non-material and possessed with intelligence. This kind of meditation will later on develop into meditation on the formless and infinite aspect of God. In the beginning, the aspirant has to take the help of imagination. Later on, when he develops his spiritual sense, he will feel the presence of the divine. Next, when he gets the highest spiritual vision, he will come face to face with the truth. He is then transported into a different realm altogether, of which this world of matter appears to be a mere shadow and as such something unreal. The mind is then lost in Savikalpa Samadhi, superconscious vision with thought. Next comes Nirvikalpa Samadhi, superconscious vision without thought. Japam may be 1. Loud, that is audible to all, 2. Audible to oneself only, or B. Silent but with the movement of the lips, and 3rd. Mental without any movement of the lips. There is then the realization of that which is beyond thought and speech. In this state, there is nothing to be seen, nothing to be heard. Everything is lost in the infinite. When one attains to this state, one can bring down the mind only with great effort to the world of phenomena which appear to be unreal. It is Dvaita Dvait Vivarjit, beyond duality and non duality. Some persons attaining to this state look upon the body as an obstacle in the way of unbroken spiritual experience and cast it off in samadhi. It is like the breaking of an earthen jar. Sri Ramakrishna used to give a beautiful illustration to explain the highest state of spiritual realization. Suppose there are 9 pots full of water, the sun reflected in each one. You break the pots one after another until only one is left with the sun reflected in it. Finally, even this last pot is broken. Then whatever is there. It can neither be seen nor described. K. Maharaj, some think of the Eastam as the all-pervading spirit. Is this not also a form of meditation? The Swami. Yes, quite so. Everyone has to practice this meditation, but only after making some progress in spiritual life, not in the beginning. The presence of the Eastam is to be realized everywhere. He who is personal and with form is also impersonal and without form. He dwells in every being. He pervades land and water, hills and dales, sky and stars, everything. K. Maharaj, the scriptures speak of service to the Guru as a necessary means to spiritual realization. How far is this true? The Swami. It is necessary at the preliminary stage, but afterwards one's mind itself plays the part of the Guru. The Guru should not be looked upon as an ordinary human being. His physical body is the temple in which resides the Lord. If the Guru is served with this idea in mind, one comes to acquire love and devotion for him, which can then be directed towards the Lord. The guidance of God, the Guru of Gurus, dwelling within, comes through one's purified mind. There are sadhakas, aspirants, who meditate upon the Guru in the Sahasrara, 1,000 petaled lotus in the brain, and next they merge the form of the Guru into that of the Eastam. Sri Ramakrishna used to say very clearly, the Guru appears before the disciple in his spiritual vision. Then, pointing out the eastham to him, he says, "Look, there is your eastham," and loses himself in it. Really, the Guru is not different from the eastham. There are so many practices in the spiritual life. How can I tell you about all of them? Follow the spiritual path in right earnest. When the mind becomes pure through religious practices, you will understand all the truths of the spiritual world. Remember, there is no end to them. They are countless. The spiritual aspirant remains wholly absorbed in them. Question: if the sadhaka gets a little taste of Ananda, divine bliss, he is very much encouraged to proceed on his spiritual path. Is this not so? The Swami, true. But in the higher spiritual state, there is neither bliss nor sorrow, pain nor pleasure, existence nor non-existence. The Ananda that you speak of is only a help during the period of sadhana. The boat stands in need of a favorable wind so long as it has not reached its destination. But when it has once reached it, there is no need for wind, whether favorable or unfavorable. Ananda help Ananda helps the aspirant in his onward course like the favorable wind. Knowledge, the object known, and the knower, all three lose themselves in the absolute. So much only have the scriptures been able to say. But what takes place after this, none has the power to describe. One has to realize it for oneself through spiritual practice. How wonderful is infinite existence where there is neither want nor fear. The very thought of it elevates the soul. There are some spiritual men who realize the absolute Nitya as distinct from the relative Leela divine spot. Others look upon both of these as one and the same. There is yet another state of spiritual experience which is beyond both absolute and relative. I complete this video at this point. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar, my dear friends. We will continue in the second video, part 4, the Kundalini conversation at Banaras. Thank you. Namaskar.